Welcome to my new series, Books and Brews, where we meet the author of books that I find inspirational while we're staying hydrated. By the way, your brew can be a cup of coffee or tea or a beer or something else, whatever you like. I've designed this series so you can either read the book ahead of time and listen to the author, or listen to the author and then decide if you want to get the book. I had the honor of interviewing someone who inspired me so much from the first time I met him. He saw something wrong and he went to his superiors, and then he was met with opposition. And this whole time, he just followed the truth and he didn't lie. And he came up with quite a bit of difficulty. It would have been much easier to just go with the flow, and he did not. And that really impressed me. I'm gonna be honest, at first I was hesitating to read the book because he's a really straight-laced guy, and I was concerned that it would be boring, but it was not. I was so happy to find out that it was really well written. He's a really smart guy, and I enjoyed it very, very much. So without further ado, here's my interview with Greg Dillon. And the book is The Thin Blue Lie, an honest cop versus the FBI. It's a really good read. I love the way when you started, you had all the different types of characters that you worked with. And I love the way you admitted, like, I've been many of these types of people at one time or another.
Sure,
so,
yeah.
So that whole being vulnerable like that really got me into it, saying, all right, this guy's gonna be upfront and honest.
We may start off in one category or one box, and over time evolve or transform into a different sort of person. Sure. And most times, no one is just one single category. They're usually a blend of one or two or maybe even three.
Now, was your dad a cop?
No, he worked in the post office. I was always fascinated by the wanted posters because they were always displayed in the lobby behind a glass window as they were either caught or killed or whatever. He would take them home for me. And then I had my own collection of them. Read the bio and their description and what they had done, and so that was sort of an early exposure, I guess, to it.
So you were kind of ready to catch them if you had to.
Sort of, yeah. I had my own little wall of wanted posters in my room. Awesome. Yeah.
And I love the part where you said you used to color your hand with a Sharpie and do your own fingerprints.
My own fingerprints, yeah, just to see if I could connect them to anybody that was on those posters. I knew there had to be a reason why those fingerprints were there. I just wasn't quite sure what to make of it.
That's awesome.
And then I remember my dad had purchased at Radio Shack one of those old scanners where you manually turn the dial until you got the right frequency. He'd have it in the background, dispatch calls. He knew the streets because having worked in a post office, he knew the whole city pretty well. Got my curiosity too, listening to that, yeah.
That's fun. How did your parents feel when you became a cop?
I think my father was a fan. I think my mom was a little hesitant about my choice.
Understandably so.
Yeah.
And then you got a job when you were really young at
Very young,
Courthouse.
Yes, at the New Haven Superior Courthouse at 235 Church Street. And I started there either 18 or 19. I think it was 18.
Wow.
And that was an eye-opener. But it was great exposure. I got to witness a number of high-profile trials. Because of my work, I was able to interact with judges, prosecutors, defense attorneys, police officers, detectives, just by being in the same room with them and spending time with them. And that paid dividends later on in my career. It really paid benefits for me when I eventually had to testify in cases, because having seen so many different people on the witness stand, including many police officers and detectives, I became aware of things to avoid, things that made you look bad in the eyes of the jury, or these little traps that attorneys would try to play on you to get you to say something that you shouldn't have said or you didn't really want to say. And so it was a learning experience. I guess I was being paid $25 a day, if you can call that pay, but I was exposed to the experience of seeing actual trials and what was effective and what was not. By your own uniform, your own handcuffs, your own patches, your own badge. I mean, it was a real fly-by-night operation, yeah. By coincidence, and I was just very lucky, the University of New Haven was one of the few colleges in the country at the time that had a 4-year accredited criminal justice program. Another school was in California. I knew that was going to be out of my reach. One was in Florida. But the University of New Haven was almost across the street from my high school.
Notre Dame.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was a no-brainer, and then they were kind enough to offer me a partial academic scholarship, which kind of cinched the deal for me, and I just, sort of moved across the street to start my next 4 years of schooling, and that was the start, sure.
I like to watch those murder mystery shows after they do their investigation, finding out what's going on behind the scenes. So I found that aspect of this book very interesting just as an overall theme. And then hearing the stories of the injustice that he faced, I was kind of outraged reading a lot of this book, but I think it was enjoyable though, because it had a good ending. I won't tell you what it is, but I feel as though things happened, and you'll have to read it to find out. So from myself to yourself, enjoy this journey. Cheers.
You cannot save me, 'cause I don't need saving.